What up, my dudes? It's a Bible study with Shay. I actually recorded a Bible study and I deleted it on accident. So we're gonna go back. And I feel like I'm gonna low-key just give a rundown of what it was, I'm gonna actually read the scriptures and stuff, and I might put in some clips about it. I might do part 1 and 2. That would be smart. I'm talking on my head. Okay, so what we're learning is the book of Exodus. Okay, it's the book of Exodus, the second book of Moses. Right, it says Exodus is the record of Israel's birth as a nation within the protective womb of Egypt. The Israelite family of 70 rapidly multiplies at the right time, accompanied with severe birth pains, and infant nation. Numbering between 2 and 3 million people, it is brought into the world where it is divinely protected, fed, and nurtured. Right? And then to start it off, it says, all those who were descendants of Jacob were 70 persons. It was 70 people. Because Joseph was also a descendant of Jacob, but he was already in Egypt at the time. So, and when Joseph died, all his brothers and all that generation, basically just giving you a little rundown of what it was. But the children of Israel were fruitful and increased abundantly, multiplied and grew exceedingly mighty, and the land was filled with them. Now there rose a new king over Egypt. Right? It says, who did not know who Joseph was, and said to his people, look, the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we. Come, let us deal shrewdly with them, lest they multiply. And it happened in the event of war that they also join our enemies and fight against us and go up out of the land. Therefore they set taskmasters over them to afflict them with their burdens, and they built for Pharaoh supply cities, Phantom and Ramses. So what we just read from what Exodus 1 verse 5 through 11, we just read that the people the people who are in Egypt right now are the descendants of Jacob, Abraham, and Isaac, right? But more so descendants under Jacob at this point. It says, and we learned that the new king of Egypt, the person who has just taken over, he did not know these people, but he knew that they were already their slaves, you could say. So, and he saw that they were mighty and that they multiplied. He was like, so since they're getting more mighty than we are, we're going to mess with them. We're going to hurt them. We're going to deal with them shrewdly. And in war, we're going to also do that. And we're going to make them just basically build our land as we sit back and let our land be built on their backs. And they sent taskmasters over them to inflict burdens upon the people, which is to whip them, to hurt them, to basically do what they want to do with the people of Israel. And they made them, the people of Egypt the king of Egypt made them build cities of Phantom or Fatam and Ramses. Ramses will be the new king over. Ramses is the child. I think those two are his children. I'm not too sure, but I'm for sure that Ramses is his child. And if you don't know, the book of Exodus is actually dictated in a movie. It's a movie on YouTube. It's called The Prince of Egypt. It also depicts the things that happen in the book of Exodus, also shows in that movie. So if you're not a person that likes to read, you could be a person that likes to watch movies. So I recommend that movie. Okay. Verse 12. But the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew. and they were in dread of the children of Israel. So the Egyptians made the children of Israel severe with rigor, serve. Sorry, made the children of Israel serve with rigor, and they made their lives bitter with hard bondage, and mortar and brick, and all manner of service in the field. All their service in which they made them serve was rigor. The king of Egypt spoke to the Hebrew midwives. He said, when you do the duties of a midwife for the Hebrew women and see them on the birth stools, if it is a son, then you shall kill him, but if it is a daughter, then she shall live. But the midwives of Egypt, feared the God and did not do as the king of Egypt commanded them, but save the male children alive. The king of Egypt said to them, why have you done this and saved the male children? The midwife said to Pharaoh, because the Hebrew women are not like the Egyptian women, for they are lively and give birth before the midwives come to them. Therefore, God dealt well with the midwives, and the people multiplied and grew very mighty. And so it was, because the midwives feared God, that he provided households for them. So what we have just read from Exodus 12 to 21, it shows that they inflicted more pain upon the people of Israel. And the more pain that they inflicted on them is the more they grew, the more that the people have multiplied. So when the king of Egypt saw this, when the king of Egypt had saw this, he told to the Hebrew midwives. He told to the Hebrew midwives, which are the people that help deliver the babies. He told for them to kill the male son, but keep the women daughters, because I guess he's like, oh, if they have more males, they're gonna be reproducing more. They're gonna eventually just keep growing, and he wanted to stop that and slow that down and just all out, just make the people of Israel weak, you know. And that's not what was going to happen. But because the Hebrew midwives feared God, they did not listen to what the king of Egypt has told them. And then he asked them, he's like, why aren't you listening to me? And then they said, because we are not like the Egyptian people, because they believe in God. The Hebrew midwife people believe in God, right? Said that we're not like them, and they gave birth before we even came to even help them. And since they feared in God, God blessed them because they did not go against the things that he wants. And they said went against the person that's trying to dictate them. He provided households for the midwives that did not kill off those sons. Now, to keep going, it says, so Pharaoh commanded all his people, saying, every son who is born you shall cast into the river, and every daughter you shall save alive. So now Pharaoh, since he realized he isn't going to get his way through the midwives, he told his people that every son who is born, every Israel child who is a boy that is born shall be cast into the river. Y'all shall throw them in the river and basically let them drown and let them die, right? And all daughters shall be saved. It says, this is Exodus 2 right now. And a man of the house of Levi went and took as wife a daughter of Levi. So the woman conceived and bore a son. And when she saw that he was a beautiful child, she hid him 3 months. But when she could no longer hide him, she took an ark of bristles for him, daubed it with asphalt and pitch. Put the child in it and laid it in the reeds of the river's bank. And his sister stood afar to know what would be done to him. So, now one of the men of the house of Levi took a wife. Well, one of the Hebrew people, they came together. They made a child. The lady conceived the child and bore it. And he was a beautiful boy. So she hid him because she did not want him to die, like how they were doing the other children. So when she could no longer hide him beyond those 3 months, she made him a little baby basket, put him inside of it, and put him into the river so that he may not drown, but he shall just be in the basket going along the riverbank. And his sister stood afar to know what would happen to him. The daughter of Pharaoh then came down to bathe at the river, and her maidens walked along the riverside. And when she saw the ark among the reeds, she sent her maid to get it. And when she opened it, she saw the child, and behold, the baby wept. So she had compassion on him and said, "This is one of the Hebrew children." Then his sister, which is child's sister, said to Pharaoh's daughter, "Shall I go and call a nurse for you from the Hebrew woman, that she may nurse the child for you?" The Pharaoh's daughter said to her, "Go." So the maiden went and called the child's mother. Then Pharaoh's daughter said to her, "Take this child away and nurse him for me, and I will give you your wages." So the woman took the child and nursed him. And the child grew, and she brought him to Pharaoh's daughter, and he became her son. So what we just read was that the Pharaoh's daughter's maidens are the Hebrew women, right? She saw the baby. She told one of the maids, go get that thing, right? She opened the basket, the baby cried. She had compassion for the baby, so she did not let him die. She saw that it was one of the Hebrews. Sorry. She saw that it was one of the Hebrews' children. So the sister was like, "Oh, should I go get someone to nurse him for you?" Right? So since his sister knew who the mother of the child was, went and got the mother, so the mother could nurse her baby for for the Pharaoh's daughter. And when she was finished nursing the baby, she had to give her child back to the Pharaoh's daughter because she can't have him. Because if she had him, he would die. To continue, it says, "So she called his name Moses, saying, because I drew him out of the water. When Moses was grown, he went out to his brethren and looked at their burdens. He went out with Ramses, which is his brother at the time. He went out, well, not at the time. Because as Moses grew, he did not know who. I don't think he truly understood that he was a Hebrew because he's a baby at this point, you know. And then he grown up with the Pharaoh's daughter and her child, so he did not know that. He didn't know his origins until something happens, and then he knows. It says, when Moses was grown, he went out to his brethren and looked at their burdens, and he saw an Egyptian beating a Hebrew, one of his brethren. So he looked this way and that way, and when he saw no one, he killed the Egyptian and hid him in the sand. And when he went out the second day, behold, 2 Hebrew men were fighting, and he said to the one who did the wrong, "Why are you striking your companion?" Then the man said to him, "Who made you a prince and a judge over us? Do you intend to kill me as you killed the Egyptian?" So Moses feared and said, "Surely this thing is known." When Pharaoh, well, let's stop right there actually. So what we just read is, so the Pharaoh's daughter named him Moses because she drew him out of the water, right? When Moses grew up, he saw him and Ramses looked over the kingdom basically of where they're at, and he saw that an Egyptian was beating one of the Hebrew men, so he went and killed that Egyptian. Which Moses does not know at the time that he is a Hebrew. He just sees it as Egyptian. He just sees this thing that man is doing to this other man is wrong. So he killed the Egyptian. And then the next day when Moses also comes out, he saw 2 Hebrew men fighting. He asked them, "Why are y'all fighting each other? Y'all like family. Why are you fighting your family?" You know? And then the man told him, he said, why are you judging us? Why? And he said, who made you a prince and why are you judging us? Surely you're not gonna kill me just how you did that other person. And that was the first time that Moses knew that other people knew that he killed an Egyptian. Now, to proceed. When Pharaoh heard of this matter, he sought to kill Moses, but Moses fled from the face of Pharaoh and dwelt in the land of Midian, and he sat down by a well. So now, since Pharaoh was trying to kill Moses, and Moses got word of that, he was like, "Yeah, I know, I'm gonna leave." And he went to a land called Midian. And he sat down by a well. Now the priests of Midian had 7 daughters, and they came to that same well that Moses was at, and they came and drew water, and they filled the throat. Hold on, and they filled the throat. And they filled their things of water for their father's flock. Then the shepherds came and drove them away. So let me just continue reading. I don't know why I keep talking. And they came and drew water. And then when they filled their things with water for their father's flock. Then the shepherds came and drove them away, but Moses stood up and helped them and watered their flock. When they came to rule, their father said, how is it that you have come so soon today? And they said, an Egyptian delivered us from the hand of the shepherds, and he also drew enough water for us and watered the flock. So, like I said, Moses now is depicted as an Egyptian, but he's actually a Hebrew, right? And since when they was trying to go, the daughters of the priest of Midian, they was trying to get water for their dad's flock, and then the shepherds came and they was trying to basically drive them away, but Moses stood up to the shepherds and they watered the flock for the girls. And he said to his daughters, and where is he? Why is it that you have left the man? Call him that he may eat bread. So since the father heard that he has done such nice things for their daughter, he was like, why did you leave that guy there? He's obviously a helper to us. Go basically call him, figure out where he's at so he may come over here and we may feed him. It says, then Moses was content to live with the man, and he gave Zipporah his daughter to Moses, and she bore him a son. He called his name Gershom, for he said, I have been a stranger in a foreign land. Now it happened in the process of the time that the king of Egypt died. So while all this is happening, when Moses has run away, has helped these people, and now he's staying in this land of Midian, and now him and the daughter Zipporah, the priestess daughter of Midian, Zipporah came, and they had their own son. And that whole process in that time, the king of Egypt has died, and now his son Ramses, which is Moses' brother, now he's running Egypt since his father has died. It says, then the children of Israel groaned because of the bondage, and they cried out, and their cry came up to God because of their bondage. So God heard their groaning, and God remembered his covenant with Abraham, with Isaac, and with Jacob. And God looked upon the children of Israel, and God acknowledged them. Now Moses was tending to the flock of Jeroth, his father-in-law, the priest of Midian, and he led the flock to the back of the desert and came to Hebron, the mountain of God. And the angel of the Lord appeared to him in a flame of fire from the midst of a bush. So he looked, and behold, the bush was burning with fire, but the bush was not consumed. Then Moses said, I will now turn aside and see this great sight, why the bush does not burn. So now what we're reading is that since the Lord heard the cries, since the people of Egypt are still, since the people of Egypt are still basically stuck there, even after the king has died, they're crying out to the Lord for the Lord to help them, and he has heard their cries, and he is acknowledging them. And since he acknowledged them, he's now about to appear to Moses in the way of a burning bush that has not been consumed by the fire of the burn, by the fire that is upon it. We'll say that. So when the Lord saw that he turned aside to look, God called to him from the midst of the bush and said, Moses, Moses. And he said, Here I am. Then he said, Do not draw near this place. Take your sandals off your feet, for the place where you stand is holy ground. Moreover, he said, I am the God of your father, the God of the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. And Moses hid his face, for he was afraid to look upon God. And the Lord said, I have surely seen the oppression of my people who are in Egypt, and have heard their cry because of their taskmasters, for I know their sorrows. So I have come down to deliver them out of the hand of the Egyptian, and to bring them up from that land to a good and large land, to a land flowing with milk and honey, to the place in the land flowing of milk and honey. Now, therefore, behold, the cry of the children of Israel has come to me, and I have also seen the oppression in which the Egyptians oppress them. Now, come now. Therefore, I will send you to Pharaoh, that you may bring my people, the children of Israel, out of Egypt. But Moses said to God, Who am I that I should go to Pharaoh, and that I should bring the children out of Egypt? He said, I will certainly be with you. This is God talking to Moses, replying back to what Moses said. He said, I will certainly be with you, and this shall be a sign to you that I have sent you. When you have brought the people out of Egypt, you shall serve God on this mountain. Then Moses said to God, Indeed, when I come to the children of Egypt and say to them, The God of your fathers has sent me to you, and they say to me, What is his name? What shall I say to them? And God said to Moses, I am who I am. Then he said, Thus you shall say to the children of Israel, I am has sent me to you. Moreover, God said to Moses, Thus you shall say to the children of Israel, did I say the children of Egypt? I feel like I just said the children of Egypt. Oh my goodness, I'm going to re-say that. It says, And God said to Moses, I am who I am. And he said, Thus you shall say to the children of Israel, I am has sent me to you. Moreover, God said to Moses, Thus you shall say to the children of Israel, the Lord God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob has sent me to you. This is my name forever, and this is my memorial to all generations. Go and gather the elders of Israel together and say to them, The Lord God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, of Isaac, and of Jacob, appeared to me, saying, I have surely visited you and seen what is done to you in Egypt. And I have said, I will bring you up out of the affliction of Egypt to a land flowing with milk and honey. Then they will heed your voice, and you shall come, you and the elders of Israel, to the king of Egypt, and you shall say to him, The Lord God of the Hebrews has met with us, and now, please, let us go 3 days' journey into the wilderness, that we may sacrifice to the Lord our God. So what we just read is that the Lord is basically telling Moses that you're going to deliver these people, you're going to deliver my people out of Egypt, out of the hands of of the out of the hands of the oppression that they're getting from the people of Egypt. You know, he's like, you shall say to the people that I am who I am. I am has sent me to you. Basically, like I just said, he's giving him instructions to what to do and what to say. And what to say to the people. And what to say to the king of Egypt as well. And, you know, as we continue to go on, we gotta just hear what keeps going. Because right now, I'm going to stop right now. Because I like the part where I ended off at. So we just gotta see what continues to happen. What will Moses do? Well, surely Moses shall follow what the Lord has told him, and just let's see if the people of Egypt actually gets free and actually, escapes Egypt, you could say. Um, well, I know what happens. But hey, God is, I feel like everybody should just know what's happening right now is that God is with his people. If you cry out to him, he shall answer. He shall be with you at every step of the way. He shall not let you. He shall not let you go through something if he did not have a plan, or he did not have something that will basically happen at the end. Because what we see is that the people of the Hebrew people have gotten, who are enslaved to the people of Egypt, and he said once they get out and once they escape the oppression that they've been going through for years upon years, once they get out by the help of Moses, that they shall be going to a land flowing with milk and honey. So even through the tough times, if you just keep going and keep pushing, there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. Remember that there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. So we can do part two. Well, I'm gonna upload part two some other time, but right now you have part one. And if you want to read by yourself of what continues to happen in Exodus, what we stopped off at was Exodus 3, verse 18. And we'll start back off on Exodus 3, verse 19 in part 2. So have a blessed and wonderful day. Continue to have God in your life. Continue to pray and just continue to follow in the Lord's steps and don't turn to the things of your heart, for it is very deceptive. Just continue to stay on the journey that God has put you on. Have a blessed and amazing day.